Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches. I'm here to help you transform your Spanish with 3 fantastic little expressions that we use with the verb decir, to say. Pues hablamos de todo en la segunda parte.
Ojalá tuviera yo un español más decente.
So I don't know if you saw a video that I did a while ago about how our Spanish can sound a bit weird if we don't have the correct filler words to make the conversation flow. Some people agreed with me, some people didn't. However, I'm going to share with you 3 little expressions that really help you to sound native. And so, expression number 1. Ya te digo, ya te digo, ya te digo. Okay, now you can hear it in the tone of my voice, even if you don't know what ya te digo means. We say exactly the same when we say, you're telling me, you're not kidding. Something like that. I'm in total agreement. You're not kidding. All right, when we say that, and I don't know if that translates over to the US, but when somebody says something that's evident, that's obvious, something that you agree with, in England we would say, you're not kidding. And in Spanish, they say, ya te digo. Already, to you, I'm telling. And all that does is it encourages your listener. This is a real important trick to learn in Spanish. When you're learning Spanish, the way that you learn Spanish is not by necessarily speaking a lot, although that absolutely you've got to speak. How you learn is by talking to people and listening to what they say. Now, to get a Spanish speaker to talk a lot, all you have to do is ask them about food. But that apart, once they start talking, then you need to have encouragement words of encouragement to keep them talking because you're learning all of the time. One of those little expressions is ya te digo, ya te digo. When you say that to somebody, they're encouraged to go, oh, he agrees with me and he believes me. I will continue talking. Voy a seguir hablando. Handy expression number 2. So when do we use digo yo and how do we use it? Well, what we do is this. In English, when we want to give somebody our opinion, what we do sometimes is we say this. Well, I'd say that we really have to stop this problem now. I'd say. And what we do is we say I'd say, which is a contraction of I would say. If you were to ask me, I would say. Well, in Spanish, what they do is they say digo yo. However, in English, we tend to start the sentence with I'd say. I'd say we have to stop this problem now. In Spanish, they put the I'd say at the end. And they say, tenemos que acabar con este problema ahora, digo yo. Okay? So they put it on the end, digo yo. And it's just to say, but this is just my opinion. What do you think? Okay? So it's kind of like a nice way of, so that people don't push back. Because when we tell people what we have to do, they often push back. But if you just finish by saying, digo yo, it's just like, this is just my opinion. Yeah? So that's a nice one as well. To avoid getting into super confrontations, you just add a bit of a digo yo on the end to say, hey, but what do I know? Handy decir expression number 3. Dímelo tú, right? Tell me it you, okay? What does that mean in English? That means you tell me. And we use it in exactly the same way in English as they use it in Spanish. When we say, I don't know, you tell me, okay? Well, they do exactly the same. Yo qué sé, dímelo tú. Okay? Yo qué sé, dímelo tú. You tell me, I don't know. For example, we could say, ¿Qué hacían los vecinos ayer? And the person says, ni idea, dímelo tú. What were the neighbours doing yesterday? No idea, you tell me. And so that's how you use it. Dímelo tú. And we use exactly the same tonality as we do in English. You tell me, dímelo tú. In fact, In all three of those examples, we use the same tonality in English as we do in Spanish. You're not kidding. Ya te digo. I'd say, digo yo. You tell me. Dímelo tú. Exactly the same. And so now that you have those three expressions, ya te toca usarlas en tu conversación esta semana. Este fin de semana, tienes que usar estas expresiones y meterlas en la conversación, sí o sí. What I used to do, and I still do, when I learn a new expression, at the beginning, I would force it into my conversations. I would manipulate conversations so that I could slip in my expression. And that is what I would recommend to you. Manipulate, form an email, send somebody an email, a message. Just create a scenario in which you have to use one of these expressions. Bueno chicos, muchas gracias por haber estado conmigo y nos vemos la próxima vez. Hasta luego.